Alright, so, like I said, for the past week or two, I'm going to be starting my next series won't be standard, it's going to be a game mechanics and fundamentals series where I'll basically just I'm not going to explain, like, how to play the game, like, controls-wise, like, which buttons are for which, because you can just go in options and change whatever. Or you might not be able to, I'm thinking of CSGO, but, yeah, that's besides the point. I'm actually going to load my Dido game because I think I saved this one turn from victory. Oh god. Yeah, I think I did say one turn, so I'm just not going to end the turn. I'm just going to explain. And this first episode will probably be about the tech tree because I think that's probably one of the most intimidating. Uh, well, I wouldn't even really know because I played this game for too long, but when I started, I was probably most intimidated by the tech tree. Because, like, what I did at first was I would just click what the advisors would recommend. And then I did that for a while until I realized that those were pretty bad. So I started to, like, get the hang of it and, like, slowly learn what build orders would be best. And I'm still learning now. Was I one turn off from victory? No, I saved this right after I won. I can tell because Sukhothai is mine. But let's just, let's move all these out of the way. I'm just gonna finish this turn and, oh yeah, it even shows the victory. Let's see, I haven't even started the spaceship. Sure, just build a stealth bomber. Just build I don't even know why I'm bothering looking. Just build an XCOM. One turn, that's actually really quick. Just, let's see. Oh yeah, because I took Asur on the same turn, I think. Jesus Christ. What's my military manpower? 600,000. That's about what Spain was in the last game, so they must have had like a ton of units. Just automate. And it embarks workers. This is why you don't automate. This is gonna be like half, not even half, like a quarter to 1/3 of the episode. Just I think this is the only time I've ever used giant death robots. Alright, that was the last one. Let's take a good look at the tech tree. First, I should probably talk about science since that's proportionally related, and even when I click on science. Well, I'm actually only 2 turns off from future tech. But, so science. There are quite a few things that go into science. So, at the start of the game, let's scroll to the cap. You have, it's gonna show up. I think it's the first one, literally. Or no, it's in order. You have the palace, which gives happiness, that's not a thing. Or at least not at the start. What it does give is 1 culture, 2.5 defense, 3 gold, 3 science, and 3 production, 1 work of art. Now that's not really a lot, but I suppose that's the starting amount of science you get. I should probably be doing this from a new game, but it's not important. Now, science, how it's related to population is, now that I'm not fully aware of, but what I do know is more population means more science, which that isn't, me saying that isn't really helpful in any way, especially since I don't know the specifics. Like I've said, that's one thing I still don't know, like what the numbers are for population in science. But there are certain science buildings that you can use. So like libraries, for example, are the very first ones you get with writing, which I'll show where that's on the tech tree later. It's one science for every 2 citizens. That's obvious. That's given. You don't really want to build these until you get like standard like granaries, monuments, just like standard stuff a city would need. Then there's specialists, which I'll talk a little about this later in the video, but you can get a policy that gives them each science. But at the start, you get a university, which obviously, first off, gives you 50% science in your whatever city it's built in. So that means the science here, 50%, it would be making 50% more. So that's not what I wanted to do. But yeah, and then not only that, you can work the science slots. For at the beginning, it's 3 science and 3 great scientist points. Or no, I think it's only 2 science and 2 great scientist points per specialist slot. So it'd be 4 and 4. Or no, it'd be 4 and 4 for the total, not per specialist. And then what it does is there's a great people counter right here. And your great scientist bar, like right now it's at 38, at the beginning it's 4. And you'll eventually reach the amount needed for a great scientist. And then once you get that, you can utilize certain functions from the great scientist. I don't have one right now, but as you can see, there's lots of academies. That's one of the primary functions. Another function is you can use them to pop a certain amount of tech, and that tech is based on your last 8 turns of science. So I don't have a calculator, but 1,800 times 8, that's close to, there's an easier way to do this. 1,000 times 8, that's 8,000. 8 times 8, that's 64. So it'd be like, that'd be like 8,000 plus 1,600, or 6,400. I'm making a fool of myself, but it's close to like 1,500 science about for the past 8 turns, and that's key in determining how many you get from your scientists pops. In the flask, it isn't actually a beaker, it's an Erlenmeyer flask. I think that's what it's called. That's fortified, it's just used up a movement. At least I think that's the name, but some people call it a beaker, but that's kind of off topic. So like, once you get that, I'm not going to talk about other great people, I'll just talk about that in my other video. I'm just mainly doing science and the tech tree. So yeah, back to the tech tree. Or I should probably go back to science. I think I should go social policies. There's an entire social policy based on science generation, which the first, you only get this in Renaissance era, and I should actually probably talk about the eras first. That's most important. I'm getting way too specific for this video, but this is supposed to be for beginners, not for people who've played Civ as much as I have, which isn't a lot compared to some people. I know someone who has 4,000, but it's a lot. You have different eras. 1, 2. I think it's 8. Let's see. Medieval is 3. Renaissance 4. Industrial 5. Modern 6. Atomic 7. And Information 8. In each era, basically what the new era does is if you research a tech in the new era, an era ahead, it makes the techs in the old era cheaper. Now, I'm not sure by how much, I've just heard this. I'm not even sure if it's true, I just heard this. So like lots of times you'll be beeline for texts like medieval theology is 1, Renaissance acoustics, industrialization, or scientific theory, industrialization, modern, usually radio, atomic theory, and then information satellites. But what this does is it makes the text in the previous eras cheaper. I'm not sure if it stacks, so like if you have satellites but you don't have combustion, I'm not sure if that would stack or not, because that's 2 eras behind it. But it should be 1 turn either way, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, and then now that we're done with the eras, we have one more thing. They also introduced different texts or different social policies, which is what I was going to talk about. Mainly rationalism, but the first 4 are available in. I'm just going to go over this briefly, but the first 4 are available in the ancient era. Then patronage, you need. It might be medieval for patronage, and no, I think it's medieval for commerce and exploration. I think it's classical for patronage and aesthetics, and then Renaissance for rationalism, and then modern for ideologies, which that's you get to pick 3. I can't see all of them right now, but they basically are freedom, order, and autocracy. I went autocracy in this because I was going military victory and I got it, but that's besides the point. Now, in terms of science, rationalism, simply adopting it, which is what's called the opener policy, like when you just adopt it and don't get an actual tenet. You'll grant 10% science while the empire is happy, which that's pretty good, assuming you are happy. I mean, 10%, that's, I mean, it's not like a national college where it's 50%, but 10% is 10%, so. And then also, whenever you unlock a policy tree, it allows you to build a building specific to only that policy tree. Apparently an exploration doesn't. Oh no, it does, the Louvre. But when you adopt rationalism, it allows you to build the porcelain tower, which is, I'm not sure I have that, but if you go on the tech tree, it's right at agriculture. You get a great scientist and 50% more science generated from agreements. It's actually not really that good, because if you're leading in science, no one's going to generate. You're not going to make research, or no one's going to make research agreements with you. I mean, it'd be good if you're playing like a single player thing where you're up against AI and they will. I mean, obviously it'll be like one-sided, but I suppose that's good enough. And then more rationalism policies. Secularism is really the only one that's worth it. I mean, free thought is also kind of worth it in humanism, but these 3 are the main ones you need. These are the 3 kind of big science ones. Sovereignty is pretty good for gold. I think I got that first in my last game. And then scientific revolution is pretty good in combination with the porcelain tower, because that means you get 100% research agreements. And each social policy is a finisher, which where you adopt all of them, you gain an extra thing. For rationalism, you get a free technology, and you can purchase great scientists with faith, which is a different mechanic for a different time. I might combine faith and tourism. Or no, I think I'll combine culture, tourism, the social policy, and then I'll just do everything else in a different video. Oh. Next policy, 8 turns. I never actually knew that said that. That's pretty cool. Now that we're done with rationalism, let's go to the tech tree, because I wanted to explain a few things. And mainly the key text, because like, you know what pretty much what the tech tree is now. But oh no, there is one mechanic I haven't explained, which isn't even really a mechanic, it's just a number. Literacy. It's the percentage of the tech tree, that's it. It's higher techs aren't weighed more. It's literally like you can have satellites or nanotechnology and you can get that and miss sailing and you would still be like bottom on literacy. That's not a key. But if this is probably just a general thing, but if you scroll over to what your number is, it tells you exactly how much points you get from what. So at the point I have 0 from Future Tech, that's Future Tech adds to your score. And 316 from Technology. I'm not sure how the scoring works for that, but that's unimportant besides the point. Alright, yeah, I think I'm going to go on to explain the tech tree now. Now, at the early now basically there are some key texts for like certain victory types. I'm just gonna go over them in general. Like first, let's go science first. Rocketry is the first one. It's the Apollo program. That's important. You need to build that before you get any parts. Satellites. That's Hubble Space Telescope and SS Cockpit. Robotics is an archy one. Although it doesn't have a spaceship part, it gives you the spaceship factory, which is pretty good. But right after that's nanotechnology, so you kind of need that either way. It's the stasis chamber. In the old Civ 9 DLC, all of them were down the center, so you could miss tons of text. Now you kind of have to go down both bottom and top of the tree. Ooh. Next is Advanced Ballistics. That's the SS Booster. I mean, technically it's one tier earlier than nanotechnology, but it's easier to get nanotechnology. Because you can completely miss atomic theory, nuclear fission, and advanced ballistics. You can just go at the bottom of the tree for nanotechnology. You can also miss satellites, but I suppose that's not required for advanced ballistics. It's not really important. Now, this is also not a spaceship part, but ecology, the recycling center, 2 aluminum. You need aluminum to build spaceship parts. If you don't have aluminum, you could either go for this ally city state or take someone's city that has it. Particle physics is generally the last one. It's literally that's it. It's just the part. It's not like nanotechnology where it also has a pretty cool unit. It's literally just the parts, so. Now that's down. Culture. Actually, I should probably talk about the science wonders. I think I talked about this before. Hubble Space Telescope's the most important. Great library, don't rush it. It's always a bad idea, but technically it'd be the second most important. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is somewhat nice. You get bonus grade people, but I mean, you can get that from a national epic, from a garden, or from a policy in your ideology. And then, like I said, Porcelain Tower is good for single player, but multiplayer is not really important. And I also mentioned this, or I forgot to, but the text for the science stuff are writing gets you the library, also standard library, not just grade library, but that as well. Philosophy allows you to build the National College, which is, put simply, gives +3 science and +50% science in whatever city built it. But you need libraries in every single city to get that. Theology, common medieval era rush, but that's kind of besides the point here. Education, university, +50%. No, it starts at +33%, but a policy and rationalism gets it to +50. 2 scientist slots, those are the big things. Scientist slots lead to great scientist generation. But what I forgot to mention was working the slots, you take away a citizen that could be producing food or could be working food or production tiles. So there's kind of a balance. If you go freedom, there are some benefits where you get like half food from specialists, so you could work them without fearing of like starving your city. And there's also a Statue of Liberty, which gives production from one production per specialist, so that's also for production. Well, if you're not Liberty, you kind of just have to balance it. You could use trade caravans to send food to production, but that's kind of for another time. I might do that in my 3rd video. Oxford. You need a university in all cities. It gives you +3 science, a culture, 2 great works of writing, and a free technology. You usually use it to rush an era. So like what I commonly do is, or what a lot of people commonly do this, but I don't usually get to use it in Renaissance era, but I suppose I could use it to pop scientific theory to get into industrial era or industrialization. But what I mostly try to do is pop radio for ideology. Some people do like atomic theory or satellites. Doesn't really matter. But you don't want to kind of build it indiscriminately and waste the free tech. There's other opportunities for free techs like spies and or the rationalism finisher. You can't really pick when to activate those. So, but yeah, that's universities. I've already talked about the Porcelain Tower. But I didn't talk about observatories. That's plus 50% science, and that's if it's next to a mountain. So in this game, I think I had 0 cities next to mountains. But in my other game, I had my cap next to a mountain and 2 of my expands. So that's really good. That's ideal. Like if you get an observatory capital, you're probably going to be the science leader, just because combined with the National College, that's plus 100% science, which is insanely good. And you can actually get a policy in order which is plus 25% science output if the city is a factory. So that could be a plus 125% potential, which is insane, pretty much. Scientific theory. And then also the university, which could get plus 50 with the rationalism policy. The one with train posts. I forgot what that one's called. That's the one I don't remember. Should probably end this before it crashes on me. Free thought. Generally, that one's like probably the least worth out of the 3 science ones, but I suppose it's fine. Public schools plus 3, and then plus 1 science for every 2. So it's basically this. It doubles the effect of the library, and it gives you plus 3 scientists on top and a scientist slot. But there is no national wonder for having public schools, unfortunately. And then, like I said, in a order, you can get a thing where factories, they increase the city science output by 25%. That's somewhat good if you have a ton of cities. Then you have, where is it? The next one is plastics research lab. Plus 50% scientists. No, plus 50% science output. Plus 4 science in the science slot. That's also pretty good. It's actually the last one. It's the last of the science building. So you usually pop your scientists 8 turns after you get your final research lab. Because then you're at a point where it's generating the most amount that, or at least given the buildings. Could always get more pop, but that's insignificant compared to the buildings. Like I said, Apollo program, and then that's basically where it ends. But there's 2 more things. I think I mentioned this before, but scientific theory improves academy yield, and so does atomic theory. So if it's like this game where you go for the academies, and if I went the freedom tenet, that gave me plus 4 per great tile yield, I could be. I think they only produce 6 science at the beginning, but then that could be to 8 to 10 and then to 14. But yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know, why is it at 12? Beats me. Maybe it's actually just to 16 at the end. I think it starts at 8 actually, so then it'd go 8, 10, 12, and then to 16. That makes more sense. And then, is there anything else to talk about really? I think I just talked about it all. I mainly just blabber. I dabbled a little into social policy, into like the city, like specialists, certain wonders that are pretty good. And then yeah, oh, there is one thing. Research. The very bottom, it's 25% production in the city side. So like this city is 142. 25% is, well, 50% is 71, so 25% would be like 35-ish. Which is insignificant compared to 580, obviously. But it also stacks on top of everything else. So if I do this in 1816, which is like, that's about 40 to 50 more than what I had. So all these effects stack. So I mean, something might seem like a little, but when stacked with everything else, kind of like the 25% just got turned from like 35 to 40 or 50, which isn't a lot, but that's because it's 2012 in this game, or at least it's in this specific game. If this were like in the 80s or BDs, not 80s. If this were earlier in the game, that might have a better use, but for now, that's it I can really think of. I'm not sure there's really anything else. I should probably talk about spine a bit since that's kind of related to science and cities. I should talk about other policies. Mercantilism. Personalized items and cities require 25% less gold and 1 science per mint market banking stock exchange. That's just some random science policy in commerce. For patronage, you get scholarism or scholasticism. All city states which are allies provide a science boost equal to 25%. I have no clue what cities earn for science. That I did not want to click on him. That's going to be a bother. My little war, it went very successfully. I have no way of telling, or at least I don't think there's a way to tell. That's just me. But that could be pretty well if, like, you have, if you're going for, like, what do you call it? A diplomacy victory and you're allied with every city state and they're just giving you a ton of science. But a spine, I think I was going to talk about that. I have a spy. Just send this to one of his cities. That doesn't matter. But, like, you can spy on someone, and if they have a tech that you don't, you can steal it from them. Or if you have techs that people don't, you can put them in your cities to prevent stealing. Throat's really sore now. Had a speech today, and went well, but my throat's still sore. But no techs to steal, obviously. 3 turns. It takes 3 turns for the spies to arrive. No, it takes 1 turn to travel and 3 turns to establish surveillance. So 4 turns in total. But you can build, what do you call it, constabularies and police stations to prevent that. I'm not sure I did. Let's see. I did not. And then after that you can build the FBI. I think it's literally just called the Federal Bureau of Intelligence, but I'm not sure. And then that's basically, it's a national wonder that it promotes your spies, gives 1 more. I think it does something else. I can actually just, let's buy a constabulary. Let's buy a police station. I think I can see now. No, it's National Intelligence Agency. Yeah. Oh, it provides 15% reduction in spy effectiveness. I have 6 more, so it doesn't even count. And that's National Wonder. And you can get the Great Firewall, which this is the best way to counter tourism, especially if you're a nation that's going high on culture. Because, like, tourism will always eventually outdo culture. I mean, you can get, like, I'm pushing 500 culture, but if you try, you can push 1,000 tourism. It's basically impossible. Like, am I the leader? Yeah, I am now. But France, he got one with 7. And I assume before he was probably making, like, 400, 500 science per, or tourism per turn. But Great Firewall, 99.9% reduction of enemy spies. That's the first thing. So it basically means the city won't get stolen from. So, and then all our cities get 25% reduction, stacked out with national intelligence. That's 40% reduction. And then negates the tourism bonus from our players' internet. So that's half their tourism right there. I'll probably talk about that more in the culture tourism video and social policy video, but this video has already gone on for long enough. I don't even know if there's anything else to say. I think, yeah, I'll talk. This I don't know about. I'm going to stay away from all this. That's probably why I didn't win my culture. Also because I didn't use trade routes effectively. Oh, trade routes. So, how many do I have? I think they're all... Oh, no, I think they're all with city states. But you can send trade routes to other players. And if they have text that you don't, you can actually earn science. Like 1, 2, or 3, maybe even 3 science. And on the other hand, if they have text you have text they don't, you'll be giving them 1, 2, or 3 science. So yeah. And then just one more thing, like it'll just pop up here when someone enters a different error. And then the diplomacy screen is very useful. You can just see what errors everyone's in atomic. No, Rom's in information. Same with Harun al-Rashid. Rom coming. He has a lot of allies. I'm still at war with him. Suppose. But I should probably... There's an autocracy policy, which is good. It's not really good for science, but it deals with science. Can I view the thing? I'm not even sure if I can view it. Yeah, I can. I would need to adopt a new policy. Well, I didn't pick it. I actually think it's a level 3 tenet. Because, I mean, it wouldn't be a level 1. And I probably used up all the level 2 tenets. I think there's level 1 you can get every tenant, same with level 3, but level 2 there's 7 and you get to pick 4. I got the happiness ones instead. And then Total War and Nationalism. Total War is pretty good. I'll probably talk about that in a different video. And then as you can see with these cities, trading posts, eventually you can get good science. At first they only provide 1 gold. And then you can get the policy from what do you call it? Oh, free thought, and it gives 1 more science. But if you build it on a jungle, that would be 2 science, because with the university, jungles provide 2 science, and there's still 1 more here. That's not really important. And eventually you get 1 more gold from them. It's one of the techs, I'm not sure which one, but eventually, let's see. This, I don't even know why I'm searching for this. It's not really important. It might be one of the ones before. Yeah, this isn't really. We'll leave that for some other time. But yeah, and then eventually, like, trading posts, jungles, they're a really good combination. They lead to high science output. And then academies, I recommend against. Like I've said many times before that popping, or in the last years I said that, popping the great scientist generates more science than an academy ever will if you pop it at the most effective moment, which is 8 turns after you get research labs. However, if you're like Babylon and you get an early game scientist, then obviously use it for the academy. Or if you get some early great scientist generation with the Oracle. I'm not even sure who has that at this moment. That's kind of besides the point though. And I think that's it. Tomorrow's video I'll be talking about social policies, tourism and culture, all that stuff. I'll probably try and talk for less, maybe like cut it down, because I kind of talked a little bit about in this video, mainly because just science in the tech tree is so broad of a topic, it kind of encompasses almost anything else, almost everything else. And if I miss something, I don't think I'll go back and talk about it, because it's whatever I miss is probably not very important. Oh no, there is one thing I missed. That's not important, but I don't think I ever got science funding enacted, but what it does is, it's right here. Oh no, it did get enacted. What it does is it increases generation of great scientists, engineers, and merchants by 33%. So if you enact that, mainly if you're going for a science victory, you try and enact that. But it also decreases generation of great writers, artists, and musicians by 33%. So if you're trying to stop someone from going tourism, then that's a good idea. And then likewise, did culture funding or arts funding, both of them got passed. That's pretty. If both of them get passed, they cancel each other out. But likewise, arts funding decreases great scientists, engineers, and merchants by 33%. So if someone's going science, you try and use that to stop them. But I'm pretty sure that was the last thing. So actually, no, tomorrow there won't be a video. The day after, which will be Friday, then will be a video. And then just 1 per day. So that's it all for today. Friday it is then.